Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Off the Iron Podcast, brought to you by the co-hosts, the Goodwin brothers, Adam
and Evan.
Back at it for another episode. Finally got some live game action to talk about in this one.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, Flames, 3 games into the season, most of the Canadian division, at least 4 games into the season. So lots of hockey content coming up for you in the podcast. Going to be a little bit shorter one today, as we're not doing season previews or anything, but we are lots of stuff to talk about. Before we dive into it, just a quick reminder that Off the Iron Podcast is brought to you by Rocky Mountain Barbecue Catering. Drop by their storefront and pick yourself up a lunch combo featuring any one of their signature smoked meat, sausages, or burgers with 2 sides and a drink for just $12. Open 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. on weekdays. Go visit them at 5303 68th Avenue Southeast, Calgary. Also, don't forget to follow us on all of our social media outlets, including Facebook and Instagram at Off the Iron Podcast, on Twitter at Off the Iron Pod. Also, check out our YouTube channel. We're uploading our podcasts in a visual aspect as well. So if you want to see our ugly mugs up there, don't know who would want to look at our little mugs here, hey? But
at least we're opposite.
Yeah, exactly. Go check that out on YouTube. Off the Iron Podcast will pop up. You'll see our logo and our Gmail. Get at us with any questions or inquiries. offtheironpodcast@gmail.com. All right, Evan, what's going on, brother?
Not much. I mean, we just recorded our season preview episodes last week. I've got several listens on them already, so thank you all for listening, and hopefully you like the content we put out last week. But I'm happy hockey's back. I'll tell you that right now. It's a little weird because there's no fans in the Saddledome. I'm not gonna lie. The sea of red is not the same with the red tarps.
No.
Or anywhere. It seems kind of dead. The guy on the mute button has to have his finger quite ready to go because there's you can definitely hear the players chirping each other
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and yelling at each other all the time, just because that's not going to change. That's how they play the game. But it's interesting. It's good. It's good. I like it so far.
Been quite a few F-bombs picked up by the old mic.
Oh yeah, they need an outtake reel or something after the season is over of all the F-bombs and all the chirps that get picked up. And
I'd pay good money for that. I think. I wish you could get an uncensored feed of the broadcast. Just pick up all the raw audio, just somewhere where you could pay maybe a little pay-per-view. I don't know.
Yeah,
but I would be there for it for sure. So lots of action underway. We got lots coming up here. Do you want to do a quick rundown of a schedule that we got going on here?
Yeah, sure. So on this episode, we're going to try and keep it to around an hour for you folks. We're going to start out like always. We're a Flames first podcast. Both of us are diehard Flames fans. So if you're listening from elsewhere, hopefully you're a Flames fan too. Or let us hear from you if you're not. So we're going to start out with our Flames focus like we always do. Talk about the first 3 games and some line combinations, what we're thinking to date, and then we'll jump right into headlines from around the league. Lots to talk about from around the league. Lots of stories developing. And then finally, we're going to end off the podcast with a new segment that Adam and I literally just came up with right before this podcast. We're going to call it our top 5. So we're going to get hopefully some suggestions from listeners out there as to categories for our top 5 lists. And Adam and I are going to run down top 5, whatever that category is, to finish off the podcast for you. So this week we have top 5 Calder Trophy favorites going into this year. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, and lots or no shortage of candidates for that list. Going to be an exciting year for rookies, and I can't wait to watch some of these guys, especially my number 1. I'm just going to tease it. He's really good, and he's been hyped for a long time, but excited to actually see him in a NHL uniform and going to work right away. It's been nice to see. But that's coming
Not
up.
wasting any time, eh?
Yeah, that's the coming up at the end of the podcast. As we said, we are Flames first, so let's dive into the Flames focus. Flames off to a bit of a rough start, and then the last two games really improved. So just a quick review of their three games so far. 4-3 overtime loss to Winnipeg in the season opener. Then they rebounded with a 3-0 win on Hockey Night in Canada over the Vancouver Canucks. And then, of course, as we're going to see a lot of back-to-backs this year, in the second game against Vancouver, a solid performance, a 5-2 victory for the Flames. Any thoughts on the first game, the 4-3 overtime loss to Winnipeg? They got off to a hot start. They were up 3-1 at the end of the first, but it was kind of the old Flames in that first game. Great first, horrible second, couldn't get it back in the third. Yeah,
it was Flames the old coming back there for sure. The inconsistency crept back into their game, but it's first game of the season.
Yeah,
brand new team, lots of new faces, whole new situation for everyone playing with no fans. Starting the season 2-0-1 as a Flames fan is fantastic because I cannot remember a time in recent memory where we have been 2 games above 500 after 3 to start the season. So I'm taking that as a huge win. Usually we dig ourselves a 4, 5, 6 game hole where we start the season 2-7, which could still happen. But don't get me wrong, it's not looking like it's going to trend that way, but I'm calling this positive instead of a rough start. I agree with you. After the first period against Winnipeg, I was like, holy crap, maybe this is the year we make that deep run in the playoffs. Not necessarily thinking we're going to win the cup or anything like that, but maybe this is the year we crack past the first round. And it was looking that way. The Flames came out on fire. They had Winnipeg on their heels in the first 20 minutes. I don't think Winnipeg was quite prepared for that. Hellebuck did not look like his Vezina caliber form from the previous season. And it was bang, bang, bang. Next thing you know, it was 3-0. But I knew it was coming. I just knew it was coming. As soon as I can't remember what happened, that did Winnipeg got a quick power play goal in the second or something like that, and
34
the tide
seconds
the tide completely turned. I just knew it. The Flames had no jump in the second. They were all of a sudden their passing game went vanished. They could not make like a 2-foot pass even. They were getting beaten of pucks all over the ice, and then slowly that top 6 group in Winnipeg just picked apart the lead. Laine, I thought, had a pretty damn good game. Was all over it, including fighting. I can't remember who he fought at the end. Was it Tkachuk?
Tkachuk and Laine got into it a little bit there. That caused a lot of memes about Patrick Laine's sort of salad he's got going up top. And just his overall swagger, his look. Definitely kind of an interesting looking guy. He's
a weird looking dude.
Saw a couple memes of some comparisons to a certain Lord of the Rings character named Smeagol.
As soon as you said that, I knew exactly what you were talking about. I haven't seen the meme, but totally.
Maybe a tad harsh, but definitely not a model type look, let's say. But
before we continue on, question on Laine. Did you see his post-game press conference after that?
I did not, actually. He's usually good for a good interview. So what?
So I don't know if he was being serious or not, but one of the reporters asked him about Nikolai Ehlers and saying something about, I can't believe he scored that goal or something like that. And then Laine, like stone-faced, just said, screw that guy. He's a pigeon. And I have a feeling there was a thread of truth in there, though. I really do.
All the rumors.
Yeah, and I really do think that's why Laine is still being rumored to be on the move. I think he has requested officially to a trade out of Winnipeg. But I mean, if he's talking about his teammates like that to the media, it doesn't surprise me. but he had a hell of a game, so he backed it up. He definitely came to play. 2 goals with the game-winning goal in overtime.
Yeah.
Very nice. Well, it wasn't a snipe. It was a attempted snipe that was blocked, and then just a quick regroup that caught Markstrom off kilter there a little bit. But all in all, you take a point in the first game. That's from a Flames perspective. But what were your thoughts?
One disappointing thing for me in that game was Gio. Obviously, it's the first game of the season, and he's played much better in the 2 previous or the 2 next games. But that was a rough opener for him. Don't know what happened on the first line A goal. I know Anderson kind of dangled down to the goal line. I mean, he's got to bury that. But our old friend Sugar, aka Derek Forbort, turned himself into a goalie and stopped the puck. But
that was a hell of a play.
Yeah, and Gio kind of got caught puck watching Rasmus Anderson going down. Didn't realize Laine was in behind him, and obviously Gio's not quite quick enough to make up that ground, and Laine absolutely labeled that one in the top corner.
Ooh, yeah, that was quite the shot.
I don't think
that's going to beat any goalie in the NHL, including Price.
Yeah, and then on the OT winner, just goes to make a stick check on Laine and just misses it. So that was a little disappointing. But like I said, he's rebounded nicely in the last 2 games here. But other than that, it's that full 60-minute thing, right? They probably played a solid 40 minutes out of that one. Maybe 35, 40, somewhere in there, but definitely need to improve on that second period. And they did with a 3-0 shutout of Vancouver in the next one. You want to move on to that one?
Yeah, just one other quick note about the Winnipeg game. Nice to see people hit the score sheet early. Tkachuk got a goal. Gaudreau got a goal. Lindholm got a goal. Monahan had a helper. Dubois had a helper. So, those guys are going to be drivers of the offense this year. Got the monkey off the back quickly.
Yeah, definitely. And something that's off to a hot start for the Flames, the power play, picking up right where they left off in the play or the playoffs, the return to play last season. Just been dynamic, really. I mean, all the talk was, I know it's only 3 games, but all the talk was, Edmonton was going to have the dynamic power play this year, but who knows? Maybe the Flames can top them, all that wonderful talent they have up there. But it's been a hot start for the power play. I'm just booting up the stats here. So yeah, Monahan, Dubois, and Tkachuk getting on the score sheet in the Vancouver game. Dubois, that nice goal in the second period off of a little backhand spinorama pass from our boy,
that was pretty.
The bread man. Or people are calling him, because Panarin's the bread man. Maybe we should call Mangiapane the bread boy, because he's good. He brings the bread, but he's not Panarin.
Right. Fair enough.
So maybe he's light bread.
Light bread. Well, maybe he's still the bread man to me, so it's okay. All 3 goals Flames scored in the 3-0 shutout win over Vancouver on the weekend were power play goals. It was crisp. It was clean. I do think they definitely try and be way too fancy, especially on the top line power play. They got to simplify it a little bit. They're looking for those perfect cross seam passes, which they have the talent now on Calgary's top power play to do that. So, it does pay dividends sometimes. Monahan, Johnny on the spot, and if the puck comes to him in the slot, chances are it's going in the back of the net.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can't score from anywhere else, but he's pretty good at those 3-foot chip shots over the goalie on the power play and stuff like that. But Mangiapane and Dylan Dubois, hell of a skilled play on the second line power play to score that goal. And
Lucic provided the screen too.
Yeah, Lucic, he's got a spot on that power play. He's I mean, I'm not impressed with his game over the first three. He looks even slower this year.
Yeah.
But he's got a spot on that power play because he is a force to move out, and he provides quite a screen to the goaltending on that second line power for the 20 seconds that they get on the ice per power play.
I don't mind him when he's on the power play if it's like the last. Like I would prefer that they always go like a minute and a half for the first unit, and then like 30. Obviously, it's a little different because you don't know, if you're going to keep the puck in the zone the whole time, but when he's out there for a minute plus, it's like, okay, like, can we put someone with maybe a touch more skill in there right now?
Yeah.
But if he's going to be on the power play, just please be a menace in front of the net. That's all I'm going to say. I don't need him in the corner trying to find passes,
Yeah. No, he did a little too much of that. You're right.
Yeah. But nonetheless, still a very hot start for the power play. And obviously it's safe to say that was Jacob Markstrom's best performance so far. He's been great in all three games, but obviously with the 32 save shutout in that game, he's been as advertised so far. Especially
say the goalie. We finally have ourselves a goalie, I think. And I was even commenting to my wife watching the game. It's just like, oh, odd man rush. Oh, Markstrom's in it. We're okay.
Yeah.
And it's just like there's just that confidence when he's back there. Just with even the 3 games. Like I know it's 3 games. It's a very small sample size. But I mean, so far he's lived up to the contract. He doesn't look like he's going to skip a beat or anything. Key with him is stay healthy.
Yes. And fingers crossed for that. That's going to be a huge key because we've seen when Rittich gets into that, when he's the number 1 starter, he gets that workload, tends to struggle a little bit. So hopefully Markstrom, A, stays healthy, and B, Rittich can step in and provide him some rest here and there. But yeah, it's 3 games, short sample size, but love it. Definitely the best goaltender we've had since Kiprusoff.
Oh yeah, by far. There's not even a comparison.
And hopefully
it's only been 3 games.
Hopefully he keeps it up. And then Flames followed up that impressive 3-0 shutout with a 5-2 win this past Monday against Vancouver. Another solid game. JT Miller actually making his season debut. He was sidelined due to COVID protocols. I believe him and not Jamie Benn, Jordy Benn, right?
Yeah, Jordy. Yeah.
Jordy are roommates actually, and Jordy Benn tested positive, so he was forced to isolate, but he made his season debut and he made pretty instant impact, getting an assist on the first goal by Virtanen there.
One thing about this game, Flames scored all 7 goals in this game.
Yeah,
one went off Valinicki's hip and one went off was it Gio, or I can't remember.
I think
2 deflections off our own defenseman. And then 5 goals by the Flames. But I mean, those are the bounces.
And that first period in this game was probably the roughest period of the year so far for the Flames. Heavily outchanced. But again, Markstrom, if it wasn't for him, it could have been 4-0 at the end of the first in that game. I see you kind of.
I'm just thinking back to the first period. I think the shots were like 19-4.
Yeah.
Like Vancouver kicked our ass in the first period. There's no way to get around it. Like it was, the Flames did not show up when the whistle blew for that game. And you're right. If it wasn't for Markstrom, it would have been 4-0 and lights out like 10 minutes into the first period, because there was just 7-bell chance after 7-bell chance. I mean, again, Markstrom.
Yeah. and that's
kind of nice to have the confidence between the pipes like that.
That's a nice little 3-game run there, because you just know it's sticking in Vancouver fans' craw right now.
Yeah, it always feels good to take 2 games for Vancouver to start the season any day, even on the regular season.
I mean, I haven't paid too much attention to Canucks Twitter or some of their media or the articles coming out, but I imagine Jim Benning's probably been taking a ripping for that. Again, just 3 games, but when in the first 2 games, I guess that was probably the 3rd and 4th game of Vancouver season, and it's already looking like a bad decision. you're going to get some criticism, but I'm sure Demko and Holtby will kind of not be as good as Markstrom was last year, but I'm sure they can carry the load there.
Yeah, I thought Holtby was fine in the 3-0 loss. He made 32 saves. Can't ask for much more than a goalie there. You got to score to win the game. And none of those. Well, I mean, the Tkachuk goalie maybe could have had, but it wouldn't have made a difference anyways. It was a bad rebound control there, but I thought Demko was okay too. The Flames, I don't know what happened between the first and the second. If Ward started tossing garbage cans or
pulling the old Gulletson.
Pulled the old Letterkenny hockey coach. You guys suck.
Would be surprising, I guess, but
because they were a different team in the second. I mean, they scored 2 goals like within 30 seconds. I actually was watching the game, went to go make a drink, grab some food, came back. It was 2-1. I was like, what the hell? How did that happen?
And then Lindholm capped off a great second period with scoring on the power play again with just 2 seconds left. But just want to give a shout out on the first goal. Juuso Välimäki, he didn't end up getting a assist on the play, but the whole sequence where that goal happens starts with him. So he gets the puck just outside the blue line. He passes it. I think it was Dominic Simone. He just kind of backhands it deep into the zone, and Välimäki goes and chases it and beats the Vancouver defenseman to it and pokes it over to Monahan in the other corner. And that started off the whole sequence that led to that goal. So I just wanted to shout out. Good. Yeah. Great IQ there. Because I think a lot of guys would probably just look to go in there and sort of tie it up on the boards and then try and dig it out and make a play. But no, he just, he's a big kid, uses that big reach and just pokes it over to Monahan, who was alone in the corner. And that started off about 30 seconds of zone time before that goal happened. So just wanted to shout that out. And then Gio and Rasmus Andersson into the empty net sealed the game in the third period. Myers had not a late goal. It was about midway through the third, I think 13 minutes in. And but that was as close as they got, and it was 5-2 Calgary.
So I mean, great way to start the season. Let's keep it going. It's so weird. Like during the regular season, when I say regular season, I mean like a regular NHL season. You get so jazzed up to play these Canadian teams, but I was just like, oh, who do we got coming up next? Oh, Toronto. All right.
Let's go.
I have a feeling it might get a little old. Like, I don't like a couple games with the Jets. Yeah. But by game 6, game 7, it'll be like, oh, the Jets again.
Yeah. I think there's a stretch in this schedule where the Flames play the Ottawa Senators literally 4 times in a row. So that's going to get a little old. Yeah. But
you got to do what you got to do.
Tkachuk versus Tkachuk. Let's see what happens there. But
definitely. So just a few things. Well, I mean, we're going to talk about line combos. Let's do it there. I was just going to say things that I've liked so far from the Flames. I'm loving the Välimäki-Nesterov combo. Nesterov looks good. He's definitely exceeded my expectations. He hasn't had any gaffes yet. He's quite mobile. He's quite quick. He can move the puck out of our defensive end with ease. And I mean, Välimäki helps that for sure because he's such a good skater too. Loving that combo. I can see both those guys potentially creeping up the depth chart, to be honest, if it continues. And on the opposite end, I have not liked Giordano one bit in 3 games. He looks out of place. I mean, that complete gaff giveaway to can't remember who it was. Was it someone on Vancouver? Bertanen, maybe? Where he threw it from out, like he was in the corner by himself, threw it right out front. It was intercepted and in the back of the net before he even knew what was going on. He just looks slow.
Yeah, definitely not the Norris caliber play that we saw 2 seasons ago. But yeah, he's been better in games 2 and 3 than game 1. Game 1 was horrible. He was awful in that game, but still not to the level that we're used to from him. So hopefully he picks that up.
You know what I can do without too? The Geo wristers from the blue line right in the middle of the crest of the goaltender. I could deal without that too.
Yeah, that happens.
Like you can see, like every time the guy's got some skill going, they got people moving. Gets to Geo, it's wristed, plays dead. You can tell that people get frustrated when he does that too, because at least shoot it off low so you can get a rebound or something.
Yeah,
it's just I hate that play.
That
doesn't work ever.
That has been a trait that he's had over the past few seasons, and obviously he's not going to change his habits at this point, probably. Yeah. So get used to it, I would say.
Well, we've only got 2 years left of. I mean, depending on value on money, I don't think he'll be back. At least I hope not. If he continues that trend, but we'll see.
Yeah. Lots of time for him to bounce back. Just one quick thing I wanted to say. One positive part for me. I mean, he's impressed me. I mean, I was probably one of his biggest doubters coming into the season was the free agent acquisition of Chris Tanev. I think he's been solid so far.
Agreed.
He's proved me wrong for sure.
He's a lot quicker than I thought he was.
Mm-hmm. And you know, it's just the health. If he can stay healthy, I think he can continue this level of play. He might get hemmed in his zone every now and again, you know, kind of get caved in once in a while. But so far, he's been better than I thought.
Yeah, agreed.
Still lots of room, or still lots of runway to go here, but I've liked what I've seen from him so far, and he's got the long flow going.
Yeah, it does.
Seen this?
Yeah,
down to it looks like it's halfway down his back almost.
But. Yeah, he's definitely got the flow going. That's for sure. So quick note. I know Dubois went down in the third game there. Mm-hmm. Any update on him? Because that'll be a big blow too. He's this year he's going to cement himself as top 6 on this team.
Yeah, he's already made a big offensive impact in this young season so far. So the latest update was that he was day to day. Obviously, the Flames are on their league mandated 5-day break right now. Every team is still getting that, despite the shortened season. So they're doing theirs early. Right now, he's still an option. Jeff Ward said on a Zoom call today that he's still an option for Sunday. He's not 100% guaranteed to play, but it's day to day at the most. So I think at the most you're looking at maybe 2 or 3 games out. But we'll see how he responds. But yeah, they need him back.
What is it? Like, is he a concussion or?
I think it was groin. Actually, he might have just a little tweak or something.
Yeah, well, that'll take you out. He can't skate, so you got to be careful with that, or else that can end your career if you injure that and you don't let that rehab, and then you keep re-injuring it. So
we see that a lot with goalies actually, and he's been a key cog on that top line so far. Tkachuk, Lindholm, and Dubois. Yes, I'm calling them the top line. Elias Lindholm is our number 1 center right now. Matthew Tkachuk is our number 1 left winger. They've been getting the bulk of the defensive zone starts, especially in the past 2 games. I know there was a little bit of talk about why Gaudreau and Monahan were getting so many defensive zone starts, especially in the first game.
I don't agree with that. I don't know what Jeff Ward's doing there.
Yeah, definitely not the way to go. But it looks like it's being corrected a little bit in the past couple games. So loving that top line and loving the depth right now.
Yeah, I mean, I love the top line too. I think they just clicked right from the start. And I mean, you can interchange parts with Dubois too now that he's out. I know Mangiapane's a left winger, but you could put Mangiapane on that line, and that line would be dynamite as well. Yeah, I'm loving the depth. I can't believe I'm saying that about a Calgary Flames team, to be honest. I do like the combo of Gaudreau, Monahan, and Levo. Levo hasn't quite got in sync with those 2 yet, but he's looking better and better and better each game. So brand new face to the team. It's got to learn how those guys play. They play the game quite quickly. So, but I've liked Levo. It brings a little bit of physicality to that line. Third line, Mangiapane, Backlund have been a awesome combo.
Yeah.
Put those guys up against any team's top line, you're going to get a shutdown. And then you can interchange parts on that line too, depending on who you're playing. Right now it's Sam Bennett. Sam Bennett could improve. He's doing his fair share of penalties, as you were saying before. But it's been playing okay. It's making an impact. And then the fourth line, interchangeable Lucic with Ryan, who had some chemistry last year. Hopefully they get back there. And then either Simone or Nordstrom or whoever you want to slot in there. I've been really impressed with Simone. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, hopefully
he doesn't
it's
get any
Simone.
ice time because he's playing with Lucic and Ryan, but he's got some skill. Like he made a couple really nice plays on the limited ice time that he had too. You can tell. So it wouldn't surprise me if, Levo struggles a little bit or Sam Bennett struggles a little bit, that they promote him up the lineup, because I think he's got the talent. I mean, he played with Crosby, so he can't be bad.
Yeah. Exactly. And I hope it's Simone that gets the bulk of the starts here. Nordstrom, he wasn't awful in game one, but it's like, I think it's so obvious that it's such an upgrade to have Simone in the lineup, just seeing him. And I actually saw him with Monahan and Gaudreau at points, and I really like them together. I think Levo and Simone might kind of rotate, shuffle those on those second and third lines. I'd be down for that. But yeah, definitely Simone over Nordstrom at this point. There's no doubt in my mind. There's a clear gulf there in talent and impact. But
yeah, hear me out. Simone with Monahan and Gaudreau.
That's what I want. Yeah.
You slot Levo down to Majapani Backlund and that checking line. That I think is a good fit. And then you put Bennett down with Ryan and Lucic and have a bang and crash line.
Yeah.
I mean,
Bennett's got to find a role. I mean, we keep us Flames fans. It's like, maybe this year he'll break out offensively, but it's just not going to happen.
Yes, it is what it is.
Unless he gets a change of scenery and just, rebursts himself somewhere else. It's just the role he's going to play on this team is going to be a crash and bang guy. And, especially in the playoffs when the whistles go away a little bit, he's going to be make a bigger impact and hopefully put up some points there.
Yeah.
At this point, don't expect Sam Bennett to put up 40 to 45 points. In a regular season, I guess. What would it be, like 20 to 25 points this year?
Yeah, it ain't gonna happen.
If somebody asked me to take the over under on 20, I'm taking the under on 20 for sure.
For sure.
But as long as he's not being a defensive liability, which he's not, he's providing some physicality, some speed. That's all I'm asking, because right now the top three lines are gelling pretty well.
Yeah. All right. That's half an hour of Flames talk, which was longer than we anticipated. We're passionate about our Flames, guys. We apologize. So
can you tell?
Can you tell a little bit? We're jazzed up. We're liking the season so far. So, okay, let's move on in our schedule. We'll talk about some headlines from around the league. So first tagline you got here, Adam, is let's talk about the rest of the Canadian division, how they're doing. What do you think of Vancouver, Edmonton so far, and stuff like that?
Yeah, rough starts in the Western Canada markets, especially Vancouver and Edmonton. Edmonton did win last night, but and Vancouver won last night as well. But the first 3 and 4 games for those teams, definitely some reoccurring issues, especially in Edmonton. Goaltending, obviously Smith's out right now, but Koskinen started every game. Hasn't been terrible, but it's the defensive play again. Just giving up way too much. McDavid's had one big game, but he's been not quiet, but hasn't put up as many points in the other 3 games, other than obviously him and Draisaitl had that massive second game against Vancouver, as they're prone to do, 4 points each, I believe it was. And then in Vancouver, definitely been a rough start. They're getting it back on track. Actually, I meant to look how their game is going with Montreal tonight. They are tied at 2 at the start of the second. So rough starts, but maybe they're looking like they're gonna smoothing things out here.
Yeah, I mean, Vancouver looked good against Edmonton their first game. Vancouver took it to Edmonton big time.
Yeah.
Edmonton just didn't have a response for them. I don't know if you saw the play when Vancouver scored their first goal that game. Tanner Pearson.
Larson? Are you talking about Larson when he goes over to the boards?
Yeah, when they had 3 players on one player on the boards and the guy
Yeah.
standing wide open in front of the net.
Yep.
I was just like, man, you'd see that stuff in Tiger Mite and Pee Wee.
Yeah. Because I think Pearson got it over to Horvat, right? That was the
Horvat,
and Horvat was in alone.
I was like, holy smokes, if this is what's to come for the Edmonton defense without Clefbaum in there, it's just like, ooh, this could be a rough year, guys, because and I picked Edmonton to finish second in this division. It's definitely not looking. It's early still. I know.
Yeah.
But they're defensive games, and I mean Barry's not a defensive-minded defenseman, so it's he's not going to be the answer to your defensive woes there.
Yeah.
But man, there are some holes for sure, and unfortunately, Koskinen has not represented quite or very well at all.
Mm-hmm.
There was questions about his glove hand last year. And if you look, I think 90% of the goals have gone over the glove on him.
Yeah.
Like
it's definitely his biggest problem.
He drops it down all the time for some reason. That's the same problem I had in between the pipes. I was a goalie. I was okay. Not great. My problem too, when I went down, my glove hand dropped a little bit and left a little hole up over my shoulder. So
you were also getting peppered with 60 shots a game because of your
and I also had to worry about my own defenseman scoring on me too. So
yeah. Shout out Jeff McLaren. Didn't you guys have a nickname for him? Like because he wasn't he wasn't quite as sturdy on his skates as most players are.
No, that wasn't Jeff. That was another player on our team. I don't want to talk bad about anybody though.
Oh, it's all good fun.
Yeah. Jeff's nickname is Wookie.
Yes, Wookie. And then in Vancouver, slow start for Elias Pettersson. He hasn't looked quite himself. I don't know, maybe he's dealing with an issue or something, but it's been a rocky start for
pretty good at
him
slashing people to the throat, though.
Yeah, that was
uncharacteristic of him. Like he's struggling. You can tell he's frustrated because that was a blatant slash to Monahan's. I mean, he got fined for it. Monahan's collarbone area, I guess you could call it.
Yeah, and that was surprising to see. I mean, he's lucky it wasn't higher. That could have been if that was, 4 or 5 inches higher. I mean, that's
multiple games suspension.
You're talking maybe even double digits, but so lots of time to smooth things out for Vancouver and Edmonton, but definitely not the ideal starts. And I think the team that's probably impressing people the most is Montreal. Montreal looks good.
You're going to be eating your words, I think, Adam, from your predictions.
I didn't have them in, did I?
No, you had them finishing second last.
Second last, yes. And Josh Anderson has silenced a lot of the haters.
He looked like he hurt himself, though.
Yeah, actually, I think I'm just checking. I think he actually avoided injury because, he's playing tonight. So.
Oh, is he good? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want the guy to be injured.
No, definitely not.
Man, I've enjoyed watching him. He is a force when he's healthy and he's going. He can take over a game.
Mm-hmm.
He flies out there and he's got the skill and he just throws his body around like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah, and you can see why the Flames were heavily linked to him for the past couple seasons here. Obviously, health got in the way, and a huge gamble taken by Bergevin, but paying off so far. I mean, I think he had 2 goals in that first game, first goal of the season too for Montreal. But they look solid. Carey Price has looked rock solid so far.
Their blue line is one of the best in the league.
Yeah, this Romanov kid who you might hear a little bit later.
Yeah, a little
teaser.
Little teaser.
But he's been as advertised as well. And so, I mean, my biggest question mark about Montreal was, can everything come together? Lots of changes. It was just, can they all become a cohesive unit? And so far, they've definitely been that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they look good. They're going to be challenging for top 3 spots, I think. They might Edmonton, Montreal might swap out there. You never know. It's early, though.
Definitely.
It's early. We're not even talking about a 10-game sample size here.
Yeah.
They did let in 5 goals versus the Canadians or versus the Canucks last night. So there are definitely some holes still, but so far they've looked good. I've really liked Montreal. And they have the talent up front too.
Suzuki.
Did you see him make who was it? He made someone on the Edmonton defense look absolutely stupid, where he kind of just like peeked around, like pulled the puck back a little bit, and the guy went flying into the boards. I can't remember who it was. I hope it was Nurse, but just because I'm not a fan of Nurse. But anyways, Montreal looks good. The Leafs look okay. Little iffy.
They look like the Leafs.
Yeah, they look like the Leafs.
Thornton looks like he might be out for a while. Left the game last night against the Oilers. Looked a little awkward, but he scored his first goal. And an interesting tidbit about that goal. I don't know if you saw this when he scored. He scored his first goal for the Leafs, or his first goal against the Leafs. 2 of his current line mates weren't born yet when he scored that goal.
Are you shitting me?
Yeah, I think he was playing with Marner and Nylander on that line.
Well, and he started his career in Boston, so they would have played Toronto quite a bit. So, man, that's funny. To quote the Sportsnet 960 morning show, "F I'm old."
F I'm old. Yeah, love that segment. But. Yeah, it looks like he's going to be out for a little bit, so that's a little bit of a blow for the Toronto Maple Leafs. But they've been. I mean, Leafs Twitter didn't take long for them to show their frustration with TJ Brody a little bit. He was taking a little bit of a ring
out and look to the sky.
Yeah, a couple times already. I mean, we love Brody. He was good here for a long time, but not the perfect defenseman. Let's say that. But it's been up and down. A little bit of a lifeless performance last night against Edmonton. I mean, that whole game was rather lackluster. It was not a McDavid versus Matthews showdown. It was a clog up the neutral zone type showdown, which, I mean, obviously.
The old trap, hey?
Yeah, the old trap, the old Tippett trap. But, hey, they got the W, and that's all that matters. So, anything else from around the North Division?
Well, just a note on the Leafs. I mean, they had to anticipate that Thornton was going to go down to injury at some point during the season. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's old. He's been quite injury prone the last 3 or 4 years.
No other way to put it.
No other way to put it. Exactly. He's been very injury prone the last 3 or 4 years with the Sharks too. Missed good stretches of time. It's never really been 100% for any of the San Jose Sharks playoff runs either. So they had to know that was coming. I mean, they're paying him like it was coming. So unfortunately, he'll miss some time there. But the Leafs will be okay. I still think the Leafs are going to win this division. They'll figure it out. They're just they're trying to get their feet under them.
Yeah, I think they have the most depth in terms of top end talent in the North Division. Just got to sort out that defense, and Anderson and Campbell have to be pretty good. But you want to move on to our other news from around the NHL?
Just a quick note too. Winnipeg looks okay. They're playing well.
Yeah.
I won't
Ottawa
go too much
4-1 tonight.
And then Ottawa is going to struggle this year, but man, Stützle, I tell you, got his first goal already.
Yeah, his first goal was a beauty. It was kind of like how to put it? The puck was floating and it came down and he ripped it out of midair. Well, it wasn't really midair. It was a couple inches off the ice, but definitely a beauty first goal. We see a lot of first goals kind of go in off butts and kind of get redirected with feet, but that was a beauty, a nice little example of or showing off the hand-eye coordination on that one.
Yeah, it was a beautiful goal. Just wanted to point that out too. So let's move on. We have the story that's taking over the NHL,
especially
tonight, which is the Dubois trade rumors and him officially wanting out of Columbus.
Yeah. So we're recording this on January 21st, 8:48 p.m. And the Blue Jackets played the Tampa Bay Lightning tonight, a 3-2 loss in overtime. But after a lackluster effort in a puck battle in the corner in the offensive zone, Pierre-Luc Dubois got the benching for the rest of the game after that. The whole second and third period, a total of 3 minutes and 55 minutes, or 3 minutes and 55 seconds time on ice, just 5 shifts. This could get ugly quickly.
Yeah, I mean, they even mentioned him for overtime too. So, yeah, I mean, but that's what happens when you say that you want out. I mean, obviously you're, and especially like I haven't seen the play. I haven't seen the highlight of his lackluster puck battle effort in the corner. But
bad.
You start playing like that, you're going to lose the respect of your teammates pretty quickly, because they're not getting out. They're on board.
No.
I mean, Columbus has a pretty damn good team. There's lots of great character role guys there, and they ain't gonna put up with that shit. And
No.
they got a coach that's not gonna put up with that shit either.
No.
So you were saying that Tortorella practically came out and called Pierre-Luc Dubois out in the media too, which you never really see in the NHL too. So why don't you talk about that for a little bit?
Yeah, he kind of keeps, or we kind of commonly see like this stuff stays behind closed doors, but when there's rumors of trade requests and stuff, but Tortorella just basically came out and said, yeah, he wants out. Like, I believe that's word for word the quote. He wants out. So, I mean, there's no rush to trade him because he's under contract, and you got to make the right deal here. I mean, this is a franchise piece when he's on. Number one center. We saw his impact in the playoffs last year, 10 points in 10 games. But Jarmo Kekalainen, he's got lots of time, but if they want to be competitive this year, they have to get this has to be a hockey trade, which are very hard to make in today's NHL with cap reasons. And, you know, he's only under contract for this season and next season. So it's going to be interesting to see where this goes. Obviously this is going to end in him going out of town. There's no other way. There's really no way for him to stay unless they choose Dubois over Tortorella. I mean, if they fire Tortorella, probably Dubois would stay. I mean, it does seem like a Tortorella versus Dubois thing. And we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, I mean, Torts, I think is a fantastic coach. He can turn a team around pretty easily with his focus on, defensive structure and system and all that kind of stuff, and compete level. He seems to be able to bring great compete levels out of his players, get more out of his players than other coaches do. Yeah. But he has a shelf life with teams too. A lot of teams after 4 or 5 years of Torts say fuck you, Torts.
Yeah.
I don't want to take your shit anymore, and they tune him out. So they do have an interesting decision to make. I think Tortorella has taken Columbus he's helped Columbus become a contender, or not necessarily a cup contender, but competitive playoff contender for the last couple of years. Without Tortorella, I don't think they would have made the playoffs in a couple of those years. But like you said, this is a franchise number one center. And if the only reason he wants to leave is because he doesn't agree with Tortorella, you gotta weigh that a little bit.
Yeah. That's the easier move to make, right? It's easier to fire a coach than to trade a franchise center and try to get and not lose the deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but then at the same point, though, or this a counterpoint to that is, has he lost the respect and the trust of his teammates? If they go and they can Tortorella to keep Pierre-Luc Dubois, and the teammates are like, what the fuck? Like, what if half the other team or half the team likes playing for Tortorella and think Dubois is a prima donna or whatever? This is all conjecture. This is not anything in fact, but it's a complicated situation. I'm of the opinion you're getting paid $5 million. Shut up. Play the game that you love. There's thousands and thousands of people that would love to have your spot. So shut up, make your $5 million, try, and then when your contract's over, you go somewhere else.
Yeah, tough situation, and probably only going to get worse from here on out. But you want to move on to the next item on the docket. The Florida Panthers kind of gave us the Sonk treatment a little bit. There was all sorts of rumors. Keith Yandle is going to be a healthy scratch. The Ironman streak is over. Sonk. Keith Yandle scores in his first game. And you could tell that goal meant the world to him. Just the biggest smile. And, I'm a big fan of the Spit and Chicklets podcast. And, Keith Yandel's obviously like best buds with Ryan Whitney. And so he's been on the podcast a lot, and he's just seems like the best guy, like so funny, so, great teammate. All the guys love him. So it's nice to see that he's still on the Ironman streak and putting up points. It's a pretty good start.
That would have been a shame if that Ironman streak got, ousted because of a healthy scratch, because we want the young guys to come in. He's still a top 4 defenseman on almost every team in the NHL. So obviously, I'm not sure. Maybe it's doesn't get along with management there. Or something. Something had to have caused that, unless that was a whole publicity stunt just to get some attention to Florida. Who knows? But I'm happy. I agree with you. I think he's I've never met the guy, but he sounds got lots of stories. Sounds like a great guy. I'm happy for him. You can definitely tell watching the highlight that he that goal did mean the world to him. And I'm happy the Ironman streak continues, because he's damn close to breaking the record. So
he won't get it this year, but he's close. I think it's Doug Jarvis is who has the current record. It's like 920, if I'm not mistaken, around there. Sure. So he's about 80 games off. So he won't get it this season, but it will be early into next season if everything goes to plan for him.
Doug Jarvis remains at the top of 964 consecutive games played.
964. So Yandle must be at like 880. Is that what you see there?
It doesn't give Yandle's, but if his streak ended, Patrick Marleau would be the reigning Ironman with 855, and then Kessel behind him with 845 consecutive games played. So he's got to be around 880, 870 ish, somewhere in there.
Okay. Yandle making a good impact, and it's nice to see. I had a name here
866.
866. There it is. I had a name here as our next topic, but do we want to save that name for the top 5 later?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Any other things that are surprising you or disappointing you so far? I want to start off with one disappointment. Well, it's a positive and a negative. I don't know if you've seen Colorado's new sort of equipment color scheme. I don't know if you've seen this.
The light blue.
I love the blue with the maroon jersey. Like, I think it's sharp.
Yeah.
Because, there's really no black in their uniform. So the black looked good, but the blue pants with the maroon jerseys, the dark jerseys, love it. Awesome. White jerseys? Well,
not so much.
Probably like when they're wearing that with the white jerseys, probably the worst color scheme in the NHL. I don't know why it's so different, but it does not look good at all. Please go back to the black pants for when you're wearing your white uniforms.
That's what you have for your disappointments?
That was just a small one. But anything else for you? I've been a little disappointed with Pittsburgh so far. Jari's been off to a rough start. I think they allowed 5 goals in their first 3 games. Penguins, I guess it's not totally surprising. They've been sort of, kind of meh for the last couple seasons. We saw them lose to Montreal in the return to play, and then last year got swept by the New York Islanders in the first round. So tough to know what you're going to get with that team.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. But we're only 4 or 5 games in here, so it's not much of a sample size.
Facts.
Yeah, exactly. The Islanders have looked pretty good. That's a surprise. I mean, they're 3-1 to start the season. I didn't really. I knew they'd be. I thought they'd be middle of the pack in that division, but it looks like they might be one of the front runners if it continues. One other surprise, Nashville. Nashville looks okay. I didn't think they would be that great this year, but they seem to. They're 2-1, so it's nothing to write home about. It's only 3 games, but better off than I thought they would be. Other than that, Minnesota, second place in the Honda West division so far. They're 3-1.
Thanks to a certain player that we'll talk about later.
But other than that, I don't think there's anything to write home about in terms of disappointments or surprises so far.
Yeah. I want to give a quick shout out to Jack Hughes. He's looking like he's having a solid rebound sophomore season after looking. He kind of looked like he was a little bit overwhelmed at points last season, and maybe it was because he's a little physically underdeveloped. We knew that going into his draft that he very, very small, or he's tall, but he was a bit thin.
Yeah.
But we can see the dynamic skill is there, and he does look bigger this year. And it's he had a great game against I believe it was the Islanders last night. 3-point performance and looked like the number 1 overall pick that all Devils fans thought they were getting, and hopefully he continues that. It'll be nice to see the maybe the Devils get back into contention here.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. They're getting contributions from their other rookie too, who might make an appearance in our next segment here. But
teasers.
Yeah, no, I think it's too early to comment on surprises. Maybe next week once there's a larger sample size, when teams are at 6-7 games played.
All right. Should we just? We'll just before we
get
to the top five.
One surprise: the giant hole over Mika Koskinen's glove hand.
Yeah, sorry, it's pretty noticeable. Let's because everyone's had a little bit of a COVID fatigue, so we won't spend too much time on this, but we'd be remiss if we didn't bring it up at least. Dallas still yet to play a game. Now Carolina's run into some issues, some positive tests, and Washington will be without some pretty top-end players, including captain Alex Ovechkin, for at least the next 4 games. The Washington organization being fined $100,000 today as well for breaking COVID protocols. I know this is a bit of a hot topic for some people. You can spend 60 minutes on a bench with them, but you can't have a beer with them in their hotel room. I know there's rules and protocols, so it's a tough situation. I'm sure.
What was the fine for? I hadn't heard about that.
Apparently on the road, 4 Capitals players got together in somebody's room and had beers, no masks, that kind of thing. So they got hit with a little bit of a little slap on the wrist, It
wasn't Kuznetsov, was it?
I think
he's had his fair share of partying.
It was Ovechkin, Orlov for sure. And I think it might have been Kuznetsov, but I'm not sure. But yeah, a little bit of a disappointing story there, but we'll
I can see it from their side too. To be honest, I practice with these guys. I'm with them all day. I'm sitting 2 feet away from them on the bench all the time. I can't have a beer with them in a hotel room where we're isolated from everybody else. I get it from their side, but on the same token, just leave it alone. Just have a beer in your own room. It's not like you guys are living in squalor in these hotels. Just come on, you're 4 games into the season. I can see maybe halfway through wanting to have a beer with your teammate, but I don't know.
Yeah,
it's just weird times.
The other one was the goalie Ilya Samsonov. So they'll be without. So for
the Russian contingent.
Yeah, 4 games doesn't sound like a lot, but in the shortened season, maybe that'll come back to bite them. Who knows? I mean, that's an ultra competitive division.
They're out for 4. That's the protocol. They're out for 4 games.
Well, there's been positive tests as well. It looks like.
Well, that's a different story.
Yeah. And so isolation and contact tracing, all that stuff that we have no expertise in. So we'll just leave it to them. But
yeah, well, I mean, if there was positive COVID tests involved, that's a whole different story. I didn't realize there was positive tests involved. So, well, yeah, that's unfortunate. Hopefully that'll be an example for the league.
Yeah. And that's why I think they came down with the fine. I mean, 100,000 doesn't sound like a lot to an NHL franchise, but when they're not really making any money right now, they're paying players, they're not getting any revenue except for TV revenue, and like merchandise and stuff like that, but obviously no fans. 100,000, they could probably use that in some other areas, but so a little bit disappointing there, but we won't.
Wasn't it Dallas that had like 17 players test positive for COVID?
Yeah. So they haven't played a game yet. Looks like they're on track to maybe play on the middle of next week, maybe. And it looks like Carolina is going to miss a few games here. But we knew this was going to happen. We've seen it in the NBA. We've seen it in the NFL for sure. Obviously different roster sizes and stuff in the NFL, but we knew it wasn't going to go away quietly. So get used to hearing, the words contact tracing and isolation even more as we talk about NHL going forward. But shall we get into the new segment? Are we ready?
Yeah. Again, as alluded to at the start of the show here, our new top 5 segment. We're trying to think of a flashy tagline for it, but all we could come up with was top 5. Bum, 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 bum.
I suggested Fast 5, but then I realized that was a title of a Fast and Furious movie.
Yeah, we don't want to do anything Fast and Furious related.
Yeah, exactly.
So the idea behind this is Adam and I will both give our top 5 lists for the category of the week. So hopefully we'll get some category and some topic suggestions from our listeners out there. So get at us on our socials, which Adam will recap right after this. If you have a top 5 list you'd want to talk or want us to discuss, it can be anything. It doesn't have to be hockey related either. It can be top 5 chip flavors, or it can be funny movies or whatever. But we decided to keep it hockey related this week, and we're going to run down our top 5 lists for the 2021 NHL season Calder Trophy favorites.
Yep, rookie of the year. It's an exciting rookie class this year. I'll start it off by just giving a quick honorable mention to Dylan Cousins. We saw him tear up the World Juniors. He's playing for Buffalo. He's played 4 games so far. I think he can do some damage, but I liked 5 other names other than him. So you want me to start with number 5 and then we'll go to your honorable mention, or what do you want to do here?
Yeah, sure. Go with number 5.
All right. My number 5 choice is a player who I've been extremely impressed with so far. Niels Hoglander of the Vancouver Canucks. He's showing lots of skill, lots of speed, lots of grit, lots of battle with him, lots of energy. And I think that can bode well. I think he'll maybe sort of outshine Jake Virtanen if he keeps this up. Maybe, I know Virtanen was a little bit in the doghouse after last night's game when in 3-on-3 overtime, he dumped the puck into the corner instead of passing it back. Bit of a boneheaded play there. So who knows? I think with Toffoli no longer there, I think there's some room for him to move up in that lineup, and I think that'll bode well for his Calder chances. So he's number 5 for me.
All right. Well, there's going to be some overlap between these 2 lists. So why don't you do your top 5 and then I'll do my top 5.
Okay. Something tells me you might have Niels Hoglander at number 5 on yours, but we'll see. We'll see. So number 4, he dropped down to number 4 for me because he did pick up a slight injury. He's not going to be out for long, it doesn't sound like, but Tim Stützle. He's looked good so far. We mentioned his outstanding first goal. That was a beauty. But in Ottawa, we all expect them to struggle. Maybe not as bad as last season. I just think that maybe his first season he won't be quite as dynamic as he will be in future years. But he's at my number 4 spot. Number 3. Off to a bit of a slow start offensively, but he is getting boosted to the top line in New York. Alexis Lafreniere. I mean, pretty easy pick. Oh yeah, the first overall pick going to be in your top 3 for Rookie of the Year. Oh, bold take there. But but
shocker.
he was the first overall pick for a reason. He's going to show it. He's on the top line now with Zibanejad and Kreider, I believe, after being on the third line. So I think he'll start to kind of break out over the past or over the next couple of weeks. Number 2 is the number 2 rookie that I've been most impressed with. And whenever a defenseman impresses you, always a greater chance to be in that Calder discussion, because it's much tougher to adjust as a defenseman, as a young defenseman. So Alexander Romanov is my second overall selection for this. He's been outstanding. He already looks like a top pairing guy to me. He's made a great couple passes, like just, cross or up ice passes that led to goals, and it's been solid, showing that hockey IQ. He's got a physical game too, so I love him in my number 2 spot. And number 1, the guy I've been sort of teasing all episode long, the no longer boring Minnesota Wild and Kirill Kaprizov. We've heard the rumors about this guy. He's been the top scorer in the KHL for the last 3 seasons, something like that. Minnesota fans wondering when this guy is going to come over. Is it this year? Is it this year? Well, he's finally here, and he has not disappointed. 5 points through 4 games so far, including an overtime winner. And he looks dynamic as advertised so far. So there's my top 5 for the Calder Trophy.
All right, great top 5. There's going to be a lot of overlap in here on my side, but there's a few different names I have in here, and definitely a different order than what you had. So honorable mention, I'm going to come out and say it, Juuso Välimäki. I do think he is going to play his way into Calder Trophy contention potentially. I mean, it all depends on how the voting goes, of course, because like you said, there's when you're talking about defensemen as being the favorites outside of years where you have Cale Makars and stuff coming into the league.
Quinn Hughes.
Yeah, Quinn Hughes, exactly. You're going to have, it's a different conversation. It may not be leading the rookie list in points. It's kind of like impact, like Cale Makar had. But anyways, so number 5 on my list, I have Alexander Romanov from Montreal Canadiens.
Oh, there you go.
I agree with you, Adam. I think he's been fantastic so far. He has not looked out of place on a pretty competitive blue line. I would put that blue line up against almost every team in the NHL. I think they have one of the best solid decors in the league, Montreal. And that feels weird for me to say in Montreal, because it definitely was not like that last year. Bergevin's done a lot of work there, and for the better. I think Romanov took Victor Mete's spot in the lineup, and he looks to be both defensively sound and offensively sound too. I mean, he's got 3 points already. He's only played 4 games now, and he's a defenseman. And he's a third pairing defenseman too. So definitely on my radar. Wasn't to start the season, but he is now. Number 4 on my list, I'm continuing the defenseman train. I'm going to go with Ty Smith from the New Jersey Devils.
Ooh.
Now I don't know a lot about him, but he has 3 points in 3 games on a crappy team. And the reason why he's on my list is I think he's going to get the opportunity playing on a crappy, well, I shouldn't say crappy, but on a less skilled defensive core than some other players potentially on this list would get. I think he's going to get lots of power play time. I think he's going to be a pretty good cog on the penalty kill. He was a former Western WHL first team All-Star 3 years in a row, and actually was the CHL Defenseman of the Year in 2019. So he's got the pedigree, and it looks like he's going to get the opportunity. And I think I'm expecting big things from him.
Yeah, he was a mid first round pick for the New Jersey Devils, 18th overall, 17th overall in 2018. So, Ty Smith coming in at number 4, right?
Number 4, yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Number 3. Now I was torn on number 3. There's 2 people in Ottawa that I think could get on this list at number 3. Josh Norris and Stützle. But just watching the first Ottawa game, although Josh Norris right now is currently ahead in points. I think he's got 3 or 4 points. I got to give it to Stützle. I agree with you. I think he's going to be an absolute dynamic force in the NHL. He's going to be Leon Draisaitl 2.0. Going to play the same power forward game. I mean, that's a bold statement. The kid's played 3 games. So, but definitely all the indications are there. I mean, he was a force at World Juniors for 2 years now, even when he wasn't, the top age group at the World Juniors. Can put the puck in the net with ease, plays a hard, fast game, not afraid to back down from anybody. And the thing that I love, compete level. That guy is relentless on the puck. Just the 3 games. He's gonna make some mistakes. He's new. He's a rookie. All these people on this list are gonna make some mistakes. Yeah. But he's gonna win more puck battles than he loses. That kid, because he just has the compete level. Yeah, you could tell he hates to lose too. It must have been killing him in that 16-2 loss to Canada. When obviously it's Canada versus Germany, but yeah, tough way there. But you could tell he hates to lose. Yeah, and number 2 on my list, another guy who, at least from what I've seen of him so far, hates to lose as well. That's Nils Hoglander. I give him a little bit more credit than you did. I think he's going to get lots of opportunity on Vancouver, just with the lack of depth in the forward ranks in Vancouver. The 2 games that we've seen of him, I've noticed him every single time he's been out on the ice. He's a little fireball out there. Yeah. He's all over the place. Little Tasmanian devil. Yeah, a little Tasmanian devil. He's got tons of skill. Like some of the plays he makes, that he just, he can explode off the half wall. Next thing you know, the puck's at your net. He didn't score versus the Flames, but definitely made a few people look twice behind them. Yeah, and he's got the confidence to try that stuff too. Exactly. A lot of players can do that. They just don't have the confidence to do it. So it's nice to see a guy like Hoglander do it. Yeah, exactly. And I think he's got some holes in his game for sure. Defensively, I'm not sold on him, but compete level. If you have the compete level and the offensive skill, that other stuff can come. It's just going to take some time. But I think he's going to pop quite a few goals in the net this year. So, number 2 on the list, Nils Hoglander for me. And number 1, I agree with you, Adam. I watched a few of his highlights. Kirill, I can never say his name. Kirill Kaprizov. I didn't realize he was so anticipated to come to Minnesota, but he's got 5 points already, and Minnesota doesn't score a lot of goals. No. So I think, the obvious choice for number 1. As long as he stays healthy, I think he'll probably continue that pace. Wouldn't surprise me if he ends up with 35, 40, 45 points at the end of the year. You never know. He's going to get, if he's offensively gifted, which it looks like he is on a team like Minnesota, he's going to get all the opportunity in the world. Yeah. He's going to be first line power play. He's going to be all that. So, definitely skilled. Number 1 on my list as well, Kirill Kaprizov. All right. So just recap them quickly. Top 5 for you for Calder favorites. My top 5: Hoglander at 5, Stützle at 4, Lafreniere at 3, Romanov at 2, Kaprizov at 1. The Russians go 1-2 on mine. I feel kind of bad. I don't even have Lafreniere on my list. I was gonna bring that up, but he's off to a bit of a slow start offensively, but I imagine he'll turn it around. But
Hey,
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's going to take a year or two to come in the league personally, but well, prove me wrong. Number 5 on my list, Alexander Romanov from the Canadiens. Number 4, not Josh Norris. I was torn between him and Tim Stützle, but for this 3 spot. Number 4, Ty Smith from the New Jersey Devils. Number 3, Stützle from Ottawa. Number 2, Hoglander from Vancouver, and like Adam, number 1, Kirill Kaprizov from the Minnesota Wild.
Yes, and of course we have the benefit of getting a little sample size of some of these players before we make these. I think Kaprizov would have been in my top 3 before the season, but definitely number 1 now with how he's just hit the ground running, or hit the ice running, I should say, in Minnesota. But that wraps up the first edition of the top 5. Get at us on social media, especially on Twitter at Off the Iron Pod. Hit us up with your top 5. Maybe we'll put a hashtag OTI top 5, something like that. Off the Iron top 5. So use that hashtag. Yeah, I like it too. Use that hashtag and let us know your top 5. And
what was that old show on TSN that was like Off the Record? That's what I'm trying to think of. OTR
with
yeah.
Michael Landsberg.
Yeah.
I think he's still doing it, but I haven't watched it in a while. But yeah, get at us on Twitter at Off the Iron Pod, as well as our other socials. Instagram.
We'll be posting these lists out too for comments as well. So
exactly, and let us know your list and any topics that you want us to do on future OTI top 5s. So I think that wraps it up. I think we're
that's everything we had on the list here.
All right.
Enjoy hockey. I mean, I love having it back. It's nice to be able to, flip the highlights on in the morning, drinking a coffee before I start my day at work. And no, it's fantastic. I'm enjoying every minute of it. Again, tough times out there, I know, with COVID, but keep your head up. Things are coming to an end here. I think just gotta, get through the next several months, and we're gonna be okay.
There's light at the end of the tunnel.
Light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you. That's what I'm trying to say. Keep your head up.
All right. Just a quick reminder that Off the Iron is brought to you by Rocky Mountain Barbecue Catering. Visit www.rockymountainbarbecue.ca for online ordering in the lunch storefront, or request a free quote for any catering events when we can do that again. Also, again, visit us on our social medias, Off the Iron Podcast on Twitter at Off the Iron Pod, and on YouTube, Off the Iron Podcast. Thanks for listening, everyone. It's nice to have NHL action back, and I can't wait for the Flames to get back on Sunday. It's been a long 5 days, or a couple days here. They kind of teased us. Here's 3 games, and then wait a week. So it'll be nice.
Just so happens that it happened at the start of the season.
Yeah, the Maple Leafs are coming in for a back-to-back on Monday and Tuesday, or Monday, Wednesday, I believe. So looking forward to that, and we'll see you next week on Off the Iron.
We'll cue the music. Have a good one, everybody.